My name's Salem. I'm a mixed media artist and I live in South Lismore, and I've lived in the Northern Rivers for about 2.5 years. I heard a lot of good things about the region, especially when it comes to the arts, and any exposure I had to it before I was living here was very positive and very art based, so it felt like a natural next step for me. My art form is digital media with focus on textiles, makeup artistry and photography. I find a lot of my motivation just within myself. You know, if I'm not making something, I feel really guilty, and if I can't bring an idea to fruition, I just feel really obsessive about it until I can. What motivates me tends to be a lot of spite and self-doubt, which is really unfortunate, but I find it to be a really strong, really pushes me forward. But I think it's just because I always think I can do better, and there's always a better idea in my head, and there's always another artist out there doing better, and I feel like it's all up to me all the time to be doing the most I can. One of the biggest challenges I face living in a regional area like this as an artist is probably resources and spaces, so studios, clubs and galleries. I don't think it would matter where I live. I don't see myself making money from my art, and I don't currently make any money from it either. When it comes to gathering an audience, I think it wouldn't matter if I live in the city or if I live rurally, because most of my audience comes from online. But physical engagement with my art is low in a rural area because the kind of art I produce doesn't usually come out. We don't usually expect it to come out of a rural area. No, it's not ceramics and it's not landscapes, it's something quite different. And I think people expect that kind of work to only come out of the city, which really limits artists who don't live in the city. I go through periods of time where I think living as an artist regionally is definitely negative for my art practice, but I think when it comes down to it, I think you can do the exact same kind of work with the exact same kind of reach regionally as you could in the city. I think just there's a lot of expectations for what comes out of the city art scene, what comes out of the rural art scene, and I feel like you really feel like you have to limit yourself if you live in either of those areas. But the truth is there's nothing stopping you from making the same kind of art that's expected to come out of the city. If I'm feeling burnt out, I usually go and watch horror movies, or I get my friends to take me on really long drives through the countryside. It's vague. Very vague. I've been to pretty much every small town in the Northern Rivers. I just really enjoy the landscapes. I enjoy seeing the little burnt out little witch houses that you see in fields and stuff like that. And the colour palettes and seeing farm animals like cows and goats. I just find it really inspiring. The rewards of living as a rural artist in this community is somehow everyone kind of knows each other. And I can run into 3 people in one day and we'll discuss each other's artist practice and congratulate each other on recent achievements and talk about each other's work. And I've never really been able to experience that before, especially when you compare it to places that aren't rural, where there's a lot more people and a lot more anonymity. I don't think you'll have those kind of conversations so easily and so often. I've always drawn fantastical kind of creatures and characters, and only recently I realised that I could bring that to real life, and seeing it down on paper and then imagining me actually dressed like that is really exciting. And usually the second after I draw it, I'll start planning straight away, start sewing pieces straight away so I can actually become that creature. I moved from one rural town to the other just because it was kind of comfortable and it's what I know. And I always think I want to go to the city, I always think I want to move to the city, but I spend one day there and I get so overwhelmed and I feel so alone. When I moved up here, I decided to pursue TAFE with the visual arts diploma course, and I found it really nurturing and helped me mature a lot within just a year within my art. I like to explore a lot of transhumanism themes, a lot of creature and people meeting kind of themes, a lot of what we could be, beyond what we already are, especially when it comes to just physical appearance, possibilities when it comes to gender, just a whole bunch of that kind of stuff.